Hey guys, welcome back to another video topic. I am not too late on talking about Kathleen Kennedy leaving Star Wars. Now, I know I went over a whole bunch of other Star Wars stuff in this channel, but this is really special to me. Honestly, as a Star Wars fan and as someone that is always and will be a Star Wars fan, but I've just been low key about it. And I'm kind of glad this is happening because, her stepping down and, with everything that's been said, that she said that there's no source material that's been gone over with the franchise or anything like that, or anything interesting where she can like take a whole bunch of media and figure stuff out and actually, made a great franchise after when George Lucas left. But it was just like a damn mess. It's like once when George Lucas handed over her, the property towards her, him and Bob Iger, is just like, she done the most dirtiest deal ever where she took a franchise that was already well established and already well loved by the fans and turned it, upside against his head. And it was really terrible just seeing that, from 2015 till now, and this is probably going to be a period where maybe Star Wars can heal and get better and, kind of see things for what they are. But, who knows? Yeah, with Star Wars and everything, it was just really done dirty. I honestly felt like with the whole franchise, it was fine before, but once when it got to the sequels and everything, that's when things kind of took a turn. It was just no structure, no storyline or anything like that. And I think what made it worse was the fans because, we were so hyped on seeing George Lucas leave and not really like understand why. I mean, people back then, I was a prequels fan and I was a big fan of just the films and everything. And I love the world building and I really appreciate just the 6 films he made originally. And after that, once we got the sequels, it was just like, damn, like it was nothing really added to the story and to the whole universe and stuff. And it kind of condensed my passion towards George Lucas and everything. Is just to say this briefly. He was the one that kind of pioneered technology and filmmaking and just visual effects, storytelling into a whole nother planet, a level. And he was able to kind of do things that were different and was never really heard of in the history of film around this time. So he made history with making Star Wars. Yeah, so when Kathleen Kennedy kind of came around and was just like, no, I'm going to go do my own thing. I just thought that was so foul and so dirty. Like, how are you going to take this multi-billion-dollar franchise and turn it against his head and make it to something that's just very incompetent and nothing that the fans can really take home to and just, enjoy themselves as it was with George Lucas, the vision and everything. And there was nothing really made. By the way, I'm sick. I'm going to sound like a little geek right now because I'm a Star Wars geek, a little nerd. By the way, I love this franchise so much and I'll defend it. The prequels was great. I've always been a prequels kid and everything, and I really do believe that the prequels was its own set world and universe. And of course, there's this original trilogy, and compared to now, but I'll say both is pretty good because they add on to each other. But when you come to the sequel trilogy, it just doesn't add anything. And when I saw the films and stuff like that, it just didn't add anything new to the universe. It just kind of took away from what George originally built. And we got that for 10 years, 10 no, like 10 15 years. Yeah, she's been in that damn position for however long she's been, 15 years by now. So because she started making the films within 2015 where she was a president and she kind of greenlit it, Force Awakens and all the side projects and all that stuff was going on. And it was just a big mess. And then that's when they put down the feminism. And you got to remember around the time of 2015, remember when feminism was a big thing around that time? Remember when Ghostbusters was coming out and then they had all these gender swaps with movies coming out. And then it was the push, the gender and the agenda type of the message type of thing where they was putting out just female characters that was just OP. That's when Ray. So I just imagine if, if she made a film around this time, or say Force Awakens around a different time. Maybe this time we were kind of going away from the female strong protagonist type of ordeal, and it could have been something a lot better and something more competent, or better yet, just give it to a director that knows how to make a story and that actually cares about Star Wars. and just make something that's tangible and that's good. So, and that's what we wasn't getting for quite some time. And yeah, just my big thing with how everything was handled, it was just the lack of love of Star Wars, and the lack of passion and drive that originally made the stories of the original trilogy and the prequels good. And making a universe where it's believable enough for people can to understand the story and the characters and really relate to it. Of course, George Lucas even said that Star Wars is a Skywalker trilogy and a Skywalker story and a family drama, but it's always been about ideology and what you believe in, politics, world building, the set, and then how everything plays out in the story. Of course, the set pieces too are amazing too, music as well, and that all gives that really unique magic feeling of Star Wars. And we never really got that from Kathleen Kennedy when she was putting movies out for or greenlighting movies for the past 15, 16 years. So it was just terrible. I mean, it was just like the worst thing I've ever really experienced. It was just Force Awakens was fine because it's the hype of Star Wars that coming back, and you're excited. Like, man, Star Wars is coming back. After so long. Of course, I wasn't hating on George. It's real. To be real, George Lucas was never a bad director. Honestly, I really love all 6 films, all of them, perfect. I love them all. Of course, you can say what you feel about Attack of the Clones and Phantom Menace, but you can't get on Revenge of the Sith. That's like the best one, the best Star Wars movie of all time. But first 2.
But we do not
bad. It's like when you understand the context and the acting and everything like that, and his vision, and understand where his director skills was at. He was a pretty good director, and he had a vision, and that's something I could respect. And he put so much love and passion to the franchise that he didn't think about it of making money, and he wanted to do something different and something unique, and that's what made Star Wars unique at the time, and made it stand out. Because if you think about it, with Kathleen Kennedy and what everyone else was doing, with when they brought back the sequels, when they rehashed the same thing. George could have done that with the prequels, but instead he made something entirely different, and that's when it was ahead of his time for having something uniquely different from everything else we were so used to seeing, and that's what people didn't really enjoy it. But of course, when you grew up with the prequels, you enjoy it because it's cool. Like all the stuff the set pieces was cool. Everything else around it was pretty good for its time being, and I really enjoyed just seeing how the stories played out and how relatable the characters were and everything. And when it ties to the original trilogy, it has a full-fledged story, and everything worked out for itself. But when it comes to the sequels and everything else that came with the TV shows and spin-offs and stuff like that, other than Jon Favreau and then Dave Filoni, when they made The Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett and Clone Wars and some spin-offs, of course, when they were tied to that IP, it was still good. It was still solid because they were going off the foundation of what George Lucas set up and built up within the franchise. But when Kathleen Kennedy, gave the permission to, someone, what was it, Bob Chow, what's her name? One that did Kenobi. No, that was not okay. I thought that was really out of pocket. It made no sense for her to take over that project, and she had no idea what was Deborah Chow. She had no idea how to pretty much do Kenobi. Like, it was just this half-baked show. It didn't have no substance or anything, and it made it seem like Kenobi was just this incompetent character, and it really disrespected the IQ levels and just the character assassinations of what these characters have been through, especially with Kenobi, because it's like who the characters are, but yet they're presented in a really poor fashion where the fans can call it out. And we've been getting this for so long, character assassinations, and just so many problematic storylines and things that just doesn't make sense into the universe. And they're saying that it's a lack of source material, which that was not the case. That was so untrue. And I heard that from her interview with Kathleen Kennedy when she said that in the interview. Like, there's no source material. It just didn't feel like doing the homework so you can make the money, basically. So like there's just little stuff like that. And then just Star Wars is lacking that soul and that vision. And obviously, a lot of people have said this on the internet. A lot of good YouTubers. I personally, for me, I'm a big Star Wars theory fan, and I usually go watch videos from him and get real good insights and what's going on. And he's one of those real OG fans that grew up with the prequels and loved the prequels and was able to enjoy everything for what it was. He saw Phantom Menace in theaters. I saw Revenge of the Sith in theaters, and I was like 4 or 5 years old. And so yeah, it was just a pretty cool time to kind of just grow up around the prequels, and just I was able to catch a whiff of Star Wars back in its prime, and to really see that and that energy and that excitement I had. I never felt this way with the sequels or anything like that, and it's just really disappointing that we have a whole generation of Star Wars fans or just non-Star Wars fans, that potentially could have been made from the sequels. And I honestly think with the sequels, it's not going to be like how it is with the prequels where everyone loves it all of a sudden. Like, oh my God, it's not that bad. Like, no, I think there's going to be a test of time where it's going to be, that was okay. Or something that people are not really going to go back to or anything like that. So that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, I don't want to make this video too long. It's probably going to be something that's going to be more condensed and more understandable. But if you're a Star Wars fan, just let me know in the comments how you feel about this. And yeah, Kathleen Kennedy's gone. They're gonna get somebody else. Hopefully they have the more understanding and love for Star Wars as we do, as the fans do. Hopefully to bring this new person in, they're gonna be big fans of Star Wars as well. So let me know in the comments. You guys take care. And also I'm sick too, so thank you guys for listening, and may the force be with you. Peace.